Hey everyone, Christian here from CK Wrap. So I've been getting a lot of requests on what tools we need to wrap a car with. So we're going to show you that this is some of the product that we use right here. And we'll go over that just briefly with the camera so you can see some of the stuff that we use. Of course we have our swatches so we can show people what colors we have available. We get this big Hexus book, tons of stuff in here. A lot of it's actually discontinued pretty much the first half. With PWF from Europe, Vivid also produced in Belgium, Avery and 3M made here in the US, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go through some of this stuff right now. So I have a few different types of squeegees here, and you'll notice some are to apply the vinyl with. So we have a 3M blue squeegee. Now each one of these squeegees has a different compound, and as far as flexibility goes, some are softer than others. Now this one I find is more of a medium stiffness where it actually contours nicely and still allows you to apply enough pressure. So we use this extremely often. The next one, we have this Avery red squeegee right here. This one's super rubbery and great for surfaces that have deep contours or heavy contours because it conforms really well. I find this is a little bit too soft, but each to their own. Sometimes a lot of people like using this stuff. You'll find one that's right for you. And then we have this squeegee right here, which is just kind of a silver hard edge squeegee. I believe a 3M Gold is very similar. And this is a much stiffer squeegee. I've actually had this one for years. It doesn't wear out, whereas you can see the blue one, this is a new one, this is an old one. This isn't even that old, this is maybe like 2 weeks old, or a week, and it's already quite worn out. So you can see that there's more, this is kind of more waxy, while this has more plastic in it. Now this is great for getting into really fine areas and getting the film in there when you need to. I don't ever put a buffer on these ones because I don't use them for squeegeeing because I find they're a bit too abrasive when squeegeeing the surface, and they don't contour enough because like, no car is actually perfectly flat. After that, we have monkey strip buffers. Now these are my favorite by far. I don't think there's anything better on the market. They're very good at even wet or dry application. They tend not to mark the surface very much. They're nice soft felt. You can order these from monkeystrips.com or on Facebook, I believe. They come in different pack sizes, 25, 50, 75, 100. They start giving you away t-shirts and stuff like that when you start ordering a certain amount. But these are by far my favorite. They come in different colors and they come in different sizes. There's the regular size, which is this one, and then there's the XL, which I actually recommend, but they didn't have the XL when I ordered these, and I ordered a ton of them. So now they do, and my next order will be the XLs, which are slightly longer and reach the ends of the squeegee a little bit better, so you get better coverage, where these ones kind of are pretty tight to the edge, and when you're squeegeeing it can sometimes leave a little bit of glue on the film or mark it, and we don't want that because you want to make sure that these edges are always completely covered when we're squeegeeing, especially gloss colors or chrome and stuff like that. So be careful when you are using them. If you are using the regular size ones, just go for the XLs if you're going to order some. Now these are actually a tinting tool, and I've had these for years as well. So these are good for lifting up edge seals around the windows, especially when you're doing roof wrap. So in the front of the window, the back window, you can lift that seal up with this tool and then get in there with this tool and actually tuck the excess film in so that we have great coverage. And there's going to be no lifting or anything like that, especially on the front of the car where a lot of rain, snow, ice, that kind of stuff, wind is going to always hit the front of the windshield and then come up across the roof. It's great to tuck it in, and this is a great tool to have to be able to get the vinyl underneath that edge. Next I have this little detail tool, great for when you want to trim on edges. So when we're not able to tuck in, this will be great for getting the film really close to that edge so that we can trim it right on the edge seal or wherever it might need to be. Good for windows where the trim around the windows doesn't move at all. Some of them are really tight and you don't want to risk breaking them. It can also help with commercial wraps because a lot of people don't tend to tuck with commercial wraps. They just kind of wrap up to the edge and then trim it right off. So I recommend that as well. I have a couple of those. Next up, we have some other tools here. We have tweezers. These are fine point tweezers. You can get ones that are a little bit wider across the top. These are great for getting in, especially when we're removing film. It might be a little bit excess left behind. So these are great for picking out little bits that might be left behind. You can use the wider version as well, those are good, but sometimes these just help to get in there a little bit further. We have an Olfa cutter. It's a 9mm cutter. You can buy this from Vivid Shop or us or Home Depot or whatever. They do sell this pretty much anywhere, but they don't actually sell these blades. So these 30-degree blades are probably my favorite. It's more like you're using a scalpel, which adds a little bit more finesse to your cutting skill. It's more like you're using a pencil, and it's more like artwork in that case. So normally the blades that you'll find at Home Depot are a lot less of an angle. I believe they're 45 as opposed to 30 degrees. So these blades, I buy them on Amazon, and they're NT cutter blades, straight from Japan. Fantastic blades. Buy a pack of 50 of them. And I'm running a little bit low, but that's them right there. And they're snap off. Like I said, it's very similar to using a scalpel, but you can snap these off as many times as you need to. While a scalpel is a bit more of a pain to replace a blade on, this is a lot faster. Next, I have some chalk. Chalk is good for putting marks on the film when we need to cut, when we do measurements. Sorry, it's not chalk, it's crayon. Because this actually is able to rub off. So it's waxy, it's able to rub off the film. If you put a little mark on it, and just make sure you draw your lines where you need to cut out doors and stuff like that, especially when you're rolling out a whole side, doing a quarter panel, you're gonna cut out your doors first and your side skirt, and then you're gonna do the quarter panel and the door and the side skirt all separately. This is good for marking that off. Next up, we have a wrap glove. Pretty essential as far as doing like door handle cups, any recesses that might be difficult to get in with your hands. It's heat resistant, so it helps when you have the heat gun close, and so you don't burn yourself. It also allows your fingers to glide much more easily across the film. So your fingers won't get hung up on the film, causing wrinkles, and this helps a lot with that. So we have that. Then we have some tapes. I use 3M, not 3M, I just use blue painter's tape here. New masking tape of almost any kind is great. We mask off all our edges with this stuff so that the vinyl slides off really easily, and also when we need to cut on an opposing panel, we cut on top of this very gently so that we don't cut through to the paint. So that will help. If you do end up pushing too hard, you will cut through this no matter what, so always be careful of your pressure when cutting. We have two types of cut tape. I'll call it cut tape because we have two brands here. So we have wrap cut and we have knifeless. They both work very differently. The wrap cut has the string only on one end, while knifeless has the string right through the middle. The knifeless, this is the design line, is actually much more easy to manipulate around bends and contours and make designs with, so it's a lot easier to use. This is, in my opinion, a little bit stronger, so it actually can cut through chrome without breaking or anything like that, or fraying it, so it's a little bit stronger. It works really well also. On top of that, we have a couple of other products here. We have Vivid's Tack Reducer, which I recommend if you're using Vivid Chrome, even Chrome in general. It's probably good for it. Anything that has a high tack, this will help reduce the tack. I do have videos that explain how to use this on like hoods, so you're going to use this more so on horizontal surfaces as opposed to vertical surfaces, because horizontals are going to have the weight of the wrap and gravity pulling it down. It's going to want to tack almost immediately, especially if the climate or the temperature that you're in is hot. Next up, we have 70% isopropyl alcohol. This alcohol I don't dilute, I use it as is. I put it in a misting spray bottle. Anything will do pretty much, and we can mist the surface and strip the car of any, or the surface area of any contaminants, wax, tree sap. It helps a little bit, stuff like that. So a little bit of glue residue too, it'll help to get off, so that helps tremendously. We do have these two products. So this is a digital thermometer, and it will tell me what temperature anything is. So when we're post heating and we're checking the post heat temperature, we're going to make sure that number hits around 180 degrees Fahrenheit. When it hits 180 degrees Fahrenheit, most films, it's going to kill the memory in. So we're going to be totally fine and not have to worry about the film wanting to pull back. And you can use that if you think in recesses like door handle cups, other recesses that are similar to the amount of stretch that is needed to get the vinyl in there. And that'll ensure that your films don't lift up and lay last. Next up, we have a magnetic tape, rope tape measure. This is a great tool to have. It's much better than the regular tape measure that's stiff. This has magnets on each end, and it's great for sticking on one panel of the car and running it around the other side. Wish it was a little bit longer. It's actually not, it's 120 inches. Some panels can end up being 130 inches. Like we just did the Mercedes S550, and that was about a 134-inch rear bumper, so it's pretty long. Also, it doesn't work on cars that aren't magnetic. So the Mercedes S550 we didn't work on. So what you can do is that you can actually tape this to the surface and then run it around, and that'll give you a measurement for the panel that you need to cut out. I put tape on one side so I know where number 1 is. That way it's easy just to find. All right. Next up, we have our swatches. So great to show people colors. You can order these pretty much anywhere online, I believe. 3Feller sells these. Vivid, you can get theirs from them. Hexus, I got it from a Hexus supplier, so you just need to find one that's local to you. And PWF is kind of a more exclusive film that only a certain amount of dealers or shops are allowed to deal with, so we were selected as one of those. Not a very common film, and the colors are limited, but there are some really nice colors in here. Just a little bit more pricey as far as films go. It can be up in the thousands of dollars, or over $1,000 just for one of these more regular finishes. So it does get pretty pricey, but if someone likes the color, we like to offer it. There are more swatches that I don't have. There's KPMF, there's APA, so APA, stuff like that. Also, one thing I missed here was the heat gun. So that's another important tool, probably one of the more important tools. Even though we don't use it a lot, we still need it. It's a great tool to have. These tools are somewhat primitive. I'm not using infrared heaters. I'm not using any other fancy tools. We do have, one second, we do have this right here. So we do have this trim removal toolkit. Fantastic to have. So you can pick this up from Vivid. You can pick this up on Amazon. You can see what it's called right there. Autobody Now. I mean, I just bought whatever was pretty much the least expensive. Tools are great. They're great for removing door cards and stuff like that inside the car. Dash kits, whatever. That might be around the center console when we're wrapping stuff inside the car as well. So that helps with not damaging anything. It's very gentle on the plastic. Other than that, we've got a microfiber cloth, and I believe that's it, guys. So if you have any other questions about what's used, you can also, I don't have any scissors here. You can use scissors for when you're cutting the film, or a snitty. Avery sells a snitty. It's a little blue cutting tool, great for making straight lines when you're cutting off large panels or around the doors and stuff like that, because you can curve it really nicely. But I don't use them. I just keep losing them, so I've lost so many of them that I just gave up on buying them. But anyways, that's pretty much it as far as the tools that you'll need to get started. You won't need everything, but it'll help to have most of these tools already in your possession. That way you can do a more professional job in the end, because in the end you want to make sure you have everything that you need to get the job done properly. Now that is only as far as wrapping goes. As far as removing parts goes, you're going to need a basic tool set for sure, some wrenches, a bunch of different sockets, pliers, screwdrivers, and let's see, I have another tool here, these hook tools and stuff like that. It does help to get in there with some things. So it's good to have a variety of tools. You may have to spend a few $100, but for the most part you can probably order everything online and find what you need. But when it comes to removing parts on a vehicle, it can vary, because some vehicles require special tools to remove certain things. So in that sense, you just have to run out and pick it up, and then you have another tool that you may not use ever again. We just got a bunch of Monster Energy drinks from Monster because they hooked us up on the wrap we're doing for them. So that's it. So if you guys have any other questions about other tools or stuff that we're using here, please feel free to comment below. I'm happy to answer them as much as I can. Also check out our Instagram. We are running a sponsorship program right now, 5 full cars. So please check it out at CK Wraps. And if you want to have any questions, just ask. And that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care.